No one will love you until you understand this. Carl Jung. You can devour every psychology tome on the shelf, stream self-help seminars until your eyes blur, and recite affirmations of self-love until your voice cracks and fades. But if you don't seize this one earth-shaking truth, the love you're clawing for will remain a phantom, close enough to tease, too elusive to hold. Today I'm not here to bore you with academic lectures or toss out vague platitudes to pad your ego. I'm here to shove a key into your trembling hands, a jagged, unpolished gem of insight. Carl Jung pried from the shadowy bedrock of the human psyche. A revelation so visceral it can shatter the brittle walls you've built around yourself and reforge how you connect with everyone in your orbit. Are you ready to turn it in the lock? If you're here, tracing these words with your eyes, it's not random chance or idle curiosity. Something primal inside you, a restless tremor from the depths of your unconscious, already knows there's a hidden pulse beneath your daily grind. A truth so potent it could unravel the knots of your life and weave them into something luminous. This isn't about giving your personal shadow a polite nod or juggling your inner energies like some novice mystic playing with borrowed tools. It's about plunging into the churning abyss of the collective unconscious, that ancient, boundless wellspring where archetypes, timeless figures like the hero, the sage, the outlaw, the mother, thrum with the echoes of humanity's shared story, steering your every longing, dread, and bond. It's about stepping onto the rugged path of individuation, Jung's name for the lifelong quest to knit these archetypes into your soul, transforming you from a scattered collection of habits and hurts into a radiant whole being who stands unbowed. By the time you wade through this sea of words, you won't just have a faint hunch about why love keeps slipping through your fingers, or why your relationships feel like echoes of the same tired tune. You'll emerge with a vivid, hands-on blueprint to overhaul your relationship with yourself, your fears, your dreams, your buried fire, and, like a tidal wave crashing outward, reshape every tie you hold with the world. This isn't some airy-fairy theory to ponder over coffee. It's a call to arms, a gritty manual for claiming a love that doesn't hinge on someone else's whims but blazes from within you like a star igniting the void. Your relationships are not random. What drags you towards certain people or hurls you away from others isn't just a quirk of taste, a fluke of timing, or the chaos of chance. It's the gravitational dance of archetypes. Those eternal molds carved into the collective unconscious that script the unseen drama of your life. Cast your mind back to the last person who lit a spark in your chest or a fuse under your skin, whether it was a rush of tenderness or a storm of fury. They're not just a fleeting extra in your personal saga. They're a breathing incarnation of an archetype, a hero striding boldly through your days, a lover draping you in warmth, a tyrant tightening chains you didn't know you wore, each one a summons to roam the wilds of your inner landscape. Maybe you're pulled like a moth to those who burn with unshakable resolve, their presence a beacon in your fog of indecision. Or perhaps you keep stumbling into people who leave you feeling small, dismissed, erased, their every word a blade that carves open wounds you've plastered over. Today, you'll learn to wield these collisions like a sextant, navigating the stormy waters of your unconscious to unearth the treasures buried beneath your restless search for love. Treasures you've sought in faces and places that could never hold them. The real question isn't, why do they act this way? That's a distraction, a dodge from the mirror. It's, which archetype is reaching through them to grab me by the throat? This is the alchemy of archetypal resonance, a truth that dives deeper than the shallow ripples of daily life suggest. When someone sets off a cannon in your heart, be it awe that lifts you skyward, rage that sinks you into the dirt, or a quiet pang that lingers like a bruise, it's no petty flare-up. It's an archetype breaking the surface, a mythic figure from the collective unconscious roaring for your attention. turn your gaze to the patterns stitched across your relationships, those stubborn loops that replay like a scratched record. Do you keep orbiting people who wield the steady wisdom of the sage, their calm a salve for the chaos you've never tamed within? Or do you flinch from those who embody the devouring mother, their smothering care a twisted echo of the control you secretly cling to in your own life? Attraction and repulsion aren't idle whims. They're twin torches illuminating your road to individuation, each flicker a clue to the soul you've yet to fully claim. When you're hooked by someone's gravity, stop dead in your tracks and ask, what archetype shines through them that I'm starving to awaken in myself? Maybe their reckless freedom stirs the outlaw you've shackled with rules, their laughter a key to a cage you've forgotten you built. Perhaps their quiet strength rouses the warrior you've let rust, a blade dulled by years of playing it safe. When someone chafes you raw, don't just grit your teeth, dig in. What archetype am I shoving away here? Their arrogance might sting because it mirrors the sovereign you've refused to crown. A regal power you fear would alienate you from the world. Their icy distance might claw at you because it reflects the orphan you've starved of comfort, a child you've banished to the edges of your mind. This isn't a game for the timid. It's a bare-knuckled reckoning with the parts of yourself you've stuffed into the dark, a demand to haul them into the light and see them for what they are. It's brutal, it's messy, it's unglamorous as hell, but it's the forge where your healing begins, where the scattered shards of your being start to fuse into something solid, something real. Your most difficult relationships are your greatest teachers. Those people who grind your gears, who leave you seething or gutted or lost, they're not your foes, not curses to shake off or ghosts to outrun. They're emissaries from the collective unconscious, dispatched by some cosmic design to school you in the raw, unglamorous art of becoming whole. That coworker who picks apart your every move like a vulture on carrion, that partner who vanishes just when you lean in, that friend who turns every chat into a subtle jab, they're not random thorns in your flesh. They're archetypal heralds. The critic with its relentless eye, the wanderer with its untethered drift, the rival with its quiet sting, parading through your days to mirror the fragments of yourself you've yet to wrestle into place. Their presence isn't a cosmic prank. They're karmic guides, shoving you toward the integration that individuation craves, the wholeness you can't reach without facing them head-on. And here's the curveball that flips the game. You're a mirror for them too, reflecting their own buried archetypes in ways they might never clock unless they dare to look. When you latch onto this, your whole stance shifts. You stop swinging back and start seeing. When someone cuts you down, you might glimpse they're not just lashing at you. They're battling the archetype you embody for them. Maybe the hero they envy because they've never dared to step into their own spotlight. This isn't just a feel-good pivot. It's a lifeline, swapping knee-jerk spite for a compassion that steadies you, a responsibility that grounds you. But spotting these archetypes isn't the end game. It's the opening salvo. The real meat lies in transforming what they lay bare. If the tyrant keeps storming your life through domineering lovers or micromanaging bosses, maybe it's time to summon your own sovereign, to grip the reins of your world instead of cowering under theirs. If the wounded child keeps showing up in needy friends or fragile flings, perhaps it's your cue to cradle that tender ache within yourself instead of outsourcing it. As you stitch these exiled archetypes into your fabric, your relationships will bend and flow without you forcing a damn thing, like a river cutting a fresh channel through rock, slow but unstoppable. This isn't a weekend project. Don't fool yourself into expecting instant breakthroughs or Hollywood-style montages. Treat your emotions like a cartographer mapping uncharted wilds. Trace their contours with patience. Marvel at their twists. Let judgment sit this one out. over weeks that stretch into months, months that bleed into years, you'll clock the shift. Those people who once dragged you into their orbit of chaos or despair will start to fade, their hooks slipping free from your skin. Their snipes won't draw blood like they used to. Their absences won't echo like a gunshot. The richer, steadier relationships you've hungered for will creep into view. Not because you've chased them down with a net, but because they'll mirror the whole battle-scarred self you're hammering into shape. You'll stop scrounging for someone to plug your leaks, to shore up your crumbling worth. Instead, you'll pull in those who vibe with your fullness, bonds forged on shared strength, not shared starvation. True love, the kind that weathers storms and time, only cracks open after this trek through your archetypes. When you love from a wellspring of wholeness instead of a pit of want, your relationships morph into crucibles of growth, not quick fixes for old wounds. You won't need a partner to prop up your wobbly spine or plaster over your insecurities. You'll stand firm, feet planted, and from that granite base, you'll offer love as a gift, not a bargain for approval. Jung's ultimate gut punch is this: the archetype you dodge is the one poisoning your connections. If you bristle at someone's clinginess, maybe the caregiver in you is withering, begging for a chance to nurture without shame. If you're hooked on wild, untamed souls, perhaps the outlaw in you is clawing at the bars, screaming for a taste of the freedom you've denied it since you learned to play nice. Individuation is the gateway to authentic love. This isn't about buffing out your dents to fit some airbrushed fantasy of perfection. It's about embracing the sprawling galaxy of archetypes within you, the jagged and the radiant, the cursed and the blessed. Your archetypes aren't just the flaws you'd rather bury, the critic's acid tongue, the fool's reckless stumble. They're the gold you've left in the dirt, the lover's molten passion, the sage's piercing clarity, the hero's iron spine. When you shove these pieces away, you cleave yourself in two, throwing up barricades that choke the deep soul-to-soul connection you're built to crave. Every time you sneer at someone's quirks, you're ducking an archetype glaring back. Hate their whining? The wounded child in you might be keening for a soft place to land. Covet their swagger? The sovereign in you could be pacing its throne room, waiting for you to claim your crown. Your attractions are a compass too, pointing you toward what's dormant. If you're mesmerized by gentle nurturers, maybe the mother archetype in you aches to hold your own fragile edges instead of outsourcing that care. If you sabotage closeness with a hair-trigger flinch, perhaps the betrayer archetype is spinning yarns of old wounds you've never stitched shut. Integrating these archetypes isn't a parlor trick. It's a full-on plunge into the muck. Write a letter to the archetype you've ghosted. Name it. Orphan, rebel, judge. Thank it for standing guard. Vow to let it breathe. If the dreamer's been locked away, crack open a journal and let your mind run feral. If the warrior's been sidelined, pick a fight worth winning, a boundary, a goal, a truth, and charge. Over time, these splintered bits stop tripping you up and start propping you up, morphing from silent saboteurs into roaring champions of your wholeness. The paradox hits like a thunderclap. By welcoming your roughest, rowdiest archetypes, you burn brighter than ever. By owning your fumbles and fractures, you become real, gritty, flawed, and magnetic as hell. And it's this realness that calls in the deepest relationships, bonds between two whole beings, not two halves scrabbling to fuse. You won't need a lover to patch your holes or soothe your scars. You'll roll up complete, scars and all, and from that bedrock, love becomes a wild, shared quest, not a frantic plea for rescue. Relationships stop being about chasing bliss or dodging pain. They become arenas for growth. Every spat, every soft touch, a chance to meet yourself anew through the archetypes you tangle with together. Love as a journey of becoming. Until you wrap your head around this, you'll keep spinning in the same ruts, fresh faces, same old aches. If you always land with cold, distant partners, the orphan in you might need a long overdue hug. If you crave chaos like a junkie, the trickster might be dragging you toward lessons in liberty you've dodged since you learned to toe the line. Jung didn't see love as a shiny trophy or a cozy endpoint. It's a forge, a relentless grind where your archetypes are smelted into something tougher, truer. Every soul who wanders into your orbit hauls a lesson in their wake, and until you crack it open, the wheel keeps turning. The cast swaps out, but the script sticks, until you flip the lens inward and demand, what am I here to forge in myself? This flip, from cursing the world to owning your part, hands you the keys to the kingdom. You're no longer a rag doll tossed by fate or a doormat for others' baggage. You step up as the architect, building relationships that echo the self you're carving out, not the self you've outgrown. It's no picnic. It means staring down truths that bite, shedding skins that feel safe but strangle your growth, letting go of stories you've clung to like lifelines. But the haul is worth it. Bonds that hum with authenticity, a self-awareness that roots you deep, a love that flows from freedom, not desperation. Why do these patterns stalk you like hounds? Because your unconscious is a stubborn bastard. It'll keep staging the same damn play until you storm the stage, grab the script, and rewrite it, conducting your archetypes into a symphony of wholeness through the sprawling, sweaty, soul-bearing work of individuation.